We've all seen a major economic event move markets in a volatile way. The newest release from a government or a report can send markets spiking upward or downward, and keeping track of these events is vital. So one of the first things to notice in this video is the all-new calendar icon at the bottom right hand of the chart. You can see our mouse moving down here at the bottom right. One click and the whole calendar opens up, where we can see a ton of information globally for economic events, earnings, and dividends. Now we're going to walk you through this calendar so that by the time you're done watching this video, you know how to utilize all of these features and tools, and even what some of this more complex information means. You just may very well become an economic expert by the time this all wraps up. So one more time, we head down here to the bottom right, we open up our economic calendar. Now, a key feature to pay attention to is you can expand this calendar to your needs to fit your screen however it is that you prefer. For this video, we're going to keep this pretty expanded here, going out halfway across the screen so you can see everything rather easily. Now, starting from the top, you always want to know what the date is, of course, so you're never caught off guard, or so that you're just aware of what time and day it is. And if you click this drop down, you have some additional options to set how you want to view this calendar, whether it's yesterday's events, today's, tomorrow's events, this week's, or next. The choice really is yours. We are going to keep this on today for now because that just seems to be the most logical explanation. We want to know what happened today and what might be happening as well. Next up, pay close attention to your time zone, because after all, depending on where you are in the world, you want the events and the calendar to sync up with your time zone. Now, we are recording this video from New York City. That's right, I'm Steph. You've probably seen some of the videos I've made before, and you are subscribed to our TradingView YouTube channel. We obviously then want our New York City time zone here selected. In addition, you have the capability to decide which countries you want to track for everything on this calendar. Now, right now we have top 20 economies. That's also known as the G20. It is the nation of 20 very large, fast-moving economic powerhouse countries. If we wished, we could select the whole world. Now, that is a ton of information that might be more reserved for the experts out there, those who are consuming news and events all over the planet. But really, at the end of the day, you have the power and the choices to make these filters as you see fit. We are actually just going to look at USA for this video because we just want to focus on one market. After all, we're in New York City. Let's just see what's moving in American markets. Now you can see that we've selected the specific country. The whole calendar has updated instantly. That's because we are now only looking at USA markets. If we have the top 20 selected, well, now this calendar is taking in information from all 20 countries, all G20 countries. The whole point of us showing you this is that you understand the filtering mechanics to make the best possible economic calendar for your needs. Now, by the way, today is Friday. So if we click earnings here, we can see earnings on Friday, but obviously there are no earnings on Saturday or Sunday, so we'd probably want to look toward next week. We can also click dividends. It would appear that there are no dividends on this Friday. So it's another key thing to keep in mind as you get started is to know exactly the date, the time, and markets you have so that when you see the calendar, you know what events are coming in relation to what you're looking at on a specific day. Now, looking at the calendar here, we can see it says Friday, March 22nd, even matches our day up here. We see the times of the events that are coming up, the specific country that they are most relevant to, and some key details. So we can actually see that there's a Fed speech that happened earlier today, and there's another Fed speech that's coming soon. Now, one key tip that you have probably just noticed is that when you see these drop-down arrows on the economic calendar, you can click them. Well, this is incredibly important because you may not know what all of these things mean. But by clicking the drop-down arrow, you now get a detailed explanation about that specific event and why it matters. More importantly, you could chart that specific economic event. That's right. The very chart you're looking at here, we're currently looking at Euro US dollar, Euro USD. If we wish to chart interest rates directly from our economic calendar, we could do so by launching the chart. We could even add it to our calendar. This way we can set specific calendar reminders, notifications, or just have these events set on our calendar. Very, very, very helpful feature, especially, for example, when you see an event that's coming soon. Perhaps you didn't know what that event was. Well, now we have an explanation, the chance to chart it, and the chance to add it to our calendar. So that is the basics of understanding the calendar once you've set it up to your needs. But we want to keep moving down here because, as we said from the start, we would start from the top and then work our way down. So what you see here now are the specific days and the specific events that occurred on those days. Now we're on Friday, so we can look backward. This is Thursday, yesterday, Wednesday, the day before, and we can see the breakdown by announcements, economic announcements. This is yesterday, Thursday. There were 23 economic announcements. There were 87 earnings reports, and there were 144 dividends. So you can watch this and study this on the calendar as well. You also have these arrows on the right-hand side and the left-hand side to go back in time as needed. Now, of course, we can't go past Saturday and Sunday, but if we wish, we could go to next week, and now you can see that these update as needed. So now what we have here is we have next Monday, the 25th, next Tuesday, the 26th, and get a feel for what's going on. What's really cool about this feature is you can look ahead in a really wonderful way, and you can see the dates really changing in real time. So if you're curious about what's happening next Tuesday, well, follow our directions here. We went to next week. We clicked the 26th. The date has changed to the 26th. The economic calendar has changed to the 26th. The earnings reports have changed to the 26th. The dividends have changed to the 26th. So just by following these directions, you can look forward or backward and review everything that happened in a rather detailed way. Whether you want to see these aggregate numbers, 19 economic events, 46 earnings, 380 dividends, or actually see the literal announcements right here in the list and then expand them to learn more or to add them to your calendar or to chart them. So that does take us to the next step, which is now you have the chance to really dive in deep to these specific topics. So if you're a stock trader, and we have Tuesday selected, and you want to get ready for earnings reports on Tuesday, well, you click earnings, and now you have all of your earnings reports here. You can see the company logo, the company ticker symbol, and the company name. You can also get estimated earnings per share as needed to try to get a feel for maybe if a company is making money, losing money, or what their growth is if you're aware of their financial situation. And if the earnings reports do come in, you'll see these actual EPS and actual revenue estimates start to fill in. So actually one great example is if we go to yesterday, earnings, so remember this is yesterday, well, all of these companies reported earnings yesterday, and you can see actual EPS, Accenture. They had $2.77 per share, and they had actual revenue of $15.8 billion. So you can also sort these numbers as well. So maybe you wake up one day, you're looking for some stocks that reported earnings. You could essentially look at yesterday's earnings report, sort it by their actual revenue. And what's super fantastic about this is now you see the companies that have the largest reported revenue from yesterday, and you can chart or research these companies as needed. Maybe there's an earnings report for you to look into and research further. You could also do this with dividends or the economic calendar. So really, as you get started with this calendar, you have the ability to dive into these three topics as needed, whether you're going back in time or looking out into the future. So just like that, next week. Now, a few other key things to pay attention to here is that you do have the capability to add on some additional sorting options depending on your needs. Now, as mentioned, we are looking at the Euro US dollar right here. You can see that. And sometimes there's maybe, just too much economic information for you. After all, there's building permits. You can see that here. There are Fed speeches. There are new home sales, the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index. There are Treasury bill auctions. Well, maybe let's simplify and just look at high importance economic events. That's what this button here means. So when you click that, it filters out everything that isn't listed as high importance and only shows you the high importance items. Now, you know it's high importance by these 3 bars here. So if you've ever wondered what these 3 bars mean, well, if all 3 are filled in, it's high importance. That is designated based off their capability to have people talking, to have markets moving, or to really impact policy changes in specific countries or impact the way asset classes are moving. And oftentimes these high importance tags are designated based off of really years and years of financial research that they have impacted such assets. So you have that ability to look at all economic events. Now you can see here only 1 bar is filled in, or here's 2 bars filled in, or only high importance events. Also, you also have this category filter that can allow you to dive even deeper into the economic calendar. So a great example is, let's say you are a Forex trader who focuses specifically on GDP growth of countries, and you try to buy currencies with really powerful GDP growth relative to other countries. Well, you could click GDP, and now you're saying, I only want to see GDP economic events, and that's it. And going forward, that's all you're going to see because you've selected GDP. So you can filter down and narrow your options down even more. For now, we're going to stick to all categories because we do want to make sure you see just how much information is available to you on the economic calendar. So what we've done here in this video is we have shown you the new calendar icon right here at the bottom right of the chart. We've shown you how to get to the calendar as well. And then of course we worked our way from the top here to the very bottom, demonstrating all the different use cases of this calendar. Now, one final thing we do just want to make sure we end on is that all of these items here that are listed, these are the specific events that are happening. And really, after you've set up your calendar, once you've made your filters, you've found the specific week or day that you want to focus on, it's very important that you then start to narrow down your research based off the events, maybe perhaps earnings or dividends that matter most to you. And this is where all of these detailed line-by-line items come into play, because after all, this is the information and probably the reason why you're here. So if you were a dividend investor, for example, and you're looking to understand some upcoming dividends into the future, say Wednesday, March 27th, you have dividends selected. Well, now you've got these key dividend data points here listed by specific company with the dividend yield, with the ex-dividend date and the pay date all here available to you. If you don't know what these dividend phrases mean, don't worry, we've got plenty of videos on our YouTube channel about dividends, so you can watch those videos or check out our help center. But the key point of this final note of this deep dive into our economic calendar is, once you've made your necessary filters, once you've figured out how to sort day by day, once you've figured out whether you want to focus on one of these categories, it is then that you want to dive into these line items to really make sure that you're finding the information you need. So ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching. We hope that this video gave you a deep dive into our economic calendar, including all of the new features available to you and the new location to find it at, and specifically why this matters so much to markets. By the way, if you have any final feedback for us, ideas, comments, new features, please write them in the comments below on this YouTube video, and we will get them to the team. We'll read them, respond to them, and we just appreciate all the feedback and support that you can give us. So with that being said, thanks for watching.